on the topic of healing and nourishment in action, and the inspiration that we received from Wynn Bruce and how we practice with that. So if you're not muted, please be muted all through the sharing. We can pick up little background noises that can disrupt hearing our speakers. I think you all know what we do by now, but briefly, if you're on a computer in the top right corner, you can toggle back and forth between speaker view and gallery view. We recommend you put it on gallery view during the presentations so you're not distracted. I think we're disabling the chat today during the speakers, but somebody correct me if I have that incorrect. And in the bottom left, if you're on a computer, is the mute and the video button. And again, we ask you to stay muted. Today, we have a really jam-packed offering, so we hope you enjoy it thoroughly. We're going to have a guided meditation by Brother Fapion. Sister Truva is just going to give a very brief introduction. And then we'll have our first panel, which will be Candice, Erica, and Brother Fapion. And then we will have triads. Simona and I will be putting people into triads. If you are a wake-upper or a BIPOC person and you want to be in a BIPOC or a wake-up triad or a BIPOC wake-up triad, incorporating both wake-up and BIPOC, here's what you do to help Simona and I get those organized. For wake up, put a Z in the front of your name. So before your name, and you can click on the 3 dots by your name. And there's a place where it says rename at the very bottom of a little list there. And so go in and rename yourself with a Z in front. And if you are BIPOC, put 2 dashes in front of your name. If you're BIPOC and wake up, you're going to put --Z so that we can catch that as well. And we are going to do our best to get everyone the Dharma-sharing triad they would like to have. After the first triad, we'll come back, we'll have a second panel, and then we will have another 15-minute triad. And then we will all come back together for announcements and sharing of the merit. So with that, and the panelists are all going to introduce themselves. Their full bios are on the link that you clicked on to get here today and will be on the webpage as well. So with that, I am going to pass it on to Brother Fapion.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good good afternoon, everyone. So nice to join our Earth holders and living beings on this planet. Just help us, gather ourselves a little bit as we begin this. Can everyone hear me? Okay. Okay. Great. So please sit comfortably. And I think by now you probably are aware that just have one screen on and not to multitask. So if you have other screens on, just turn it off, or other gadgets. And we use this period before we begin together to check in if we're really present, if there's anything else pulling us away. That's our practice to when we choose to be here, we're deliberate with it, that we choose to be with each other. And even though it's a screen, we know that we're a little bit everywhere on this planet, on this continent, coming together to breathe together. So please sit beautifully. This is not just a gathering to discuss, but it's also a gathering for us to practice, to be within our body, and to be present with each other. So as I guide us through a meditation, you can close your eyes and just be aware that we're not just on the screen, but we're actually in this space and time. We are all sitting a little bit around this curved planet and sharing the same breath with Mother Earth. And with each in-breath, we fully embody ourselves, aware of the gravity of Mother Earth, whether we're on a chair, on a cushion. You can feel the weight of our arms, our shoulder dropping with each out-breath. Feel our spine being pulled to the earth. Breathing in, I see myself as a flower on this planet, in this human family. Breathing out, I feel fresh as a flower in the morning dew. Flower, fresh. Breathing in, I am a mountain on planet Earth. The mountain within me, I am Mother Earth. I'm solid as a mountain. Sitting still, nothing can disturb me. Not the wind, the storm, no feelings, no emotions. Fully stable, still as a mountain. In, mountain. Out, stable. Breathing in, I see myself as Mother Earth, part of this entire planet. This awareness is Mother Earth. This body, this breath is Mother Earth. Timeless, this planet in the cosmos, floating. This wonder, this miracle of the universe. This consciousness, a manifestation of this planet. Breathing out, I feel timeless, infinite, eternal as this whole cosmos, not limited by this body, this environment, this planet. So spacious. In, I am Mother Earth floating in space. Out, unlimited. Thank you everyone for your practice and being together. I hope that helped you really establish yourself with our family here. Thank you.
Thank you, Brother Fabian. Dear Sangha, my name is Sister True Val, Sister Tehin, and a warm welcome to everyone. We are gathering for our second session, Earthholder Online Sangha, in honor of our friend and our fellow climate activist, Wynn Bruce. So today we'll have a chance to hear from a number of Sangha members in our panel about the healing and nourishment that we have been touching as we explore our interrelationship with Wynn Bruce in the action dimension. Thank you.
Candice bowing in. Good morning, everyone. Welcome. My name is Candice Ford, and I was fortunate to be partners with Wynn Bruce for 3 years while I was living in Boulder and attending Naropa University. I now live in northern British Columbia, my home, with my family there. Naturally, there's been many waves of grief rising and falling in many of our bodies and hearts, not only in accepting and processing Wynn's death, but also the state of our planet and many different destructive and violent actions that are occurring, unfortunately, on an almost moment-to-moment basis. And yet at the same time, there's this fast-paced, intense quality to daily life. And it can feel like sometimes there's not time to fully be with our emotions and process something that can be as complex as grief. Probably most of you here feel in your own beings that the cost of not taking the time, creating the time to be with our emotions and process that grief is also very real and very significant. And so as a panel, we've been sitting with how to support ourselves and each other to continue that work, and then also transform that into outward action in our day-to-day lives and perhaps at larger collective levels. With regards to grief, the critical nature of finding and creating safe, supportive space to not only acknowledge and accept where grief lives within us, but also to be able to express it, embody it fully through our entire being, and then move it through feels essential. not only for our own individual health and sustenance, but for really the survival of our planet. And the role of community in being able to hold, witness, and help heal and move that grief through is also a theme that's come up again and again. In reflecting on these different things as a panel, it felt really clear that as we come together and take the time to acknowledge, express, and move our grief and other emotions, that there's then a clearing that can occur, a space that opens up for other positive and even more empowering energies to emerge. Things like joy, like the many layers of love, and even the essence of peace itself. As there's space for joy, love, and peace to unfold more fully within our being, it allows a profound sense of reverence for life to begin to blossom within each of us. And that reverence for life has so many gems within it that provide self-sustenance for each of us at all levels, an incredible fuel for creating change, again, at all levels. Could be in our day-to-day life, it could be at a very large global scale. And for deepening into community together. So I'll just finish with a little bit about Wynn and one of the practices that he and I did together that was very helpful in this regard. A form of conscious dance in Boulder, Colorado. Wynn had been practicing for many years when I met him and joined him on the dance floor. That's where we forged a friendship and eventually a partnership. Anywhere from 10 to 20 up to 150, maybe even 200 people would come together in a room with one of our leaders setting the tone and the container for respectful and thoughtful movement and sound within the space. There would usually be a carefully selected music score influenced by a tradition called the 5 rhythms to help us sequence through a variety of different emotions individually and collectively. And then we would move and sound and be together in that space for about an hour and 15 minutes. Wynn had become particularly skilled over the years at being in his own dance and honoring the emotions and the expressions that were coming through for him, but also being able to be present and hold space for other people and their authentic experience in the moment. He also learned how to channel a primal scream, and that's a whole other topic that we probably don't have time for right now. But just to plant that seed of the power of learning to allow primal sounds to move through our body from feet all the way up through upper body and head in a very grounded and yet free way, and how that can create a lot of healing and space. This feels like a good time to end. So thank you for your time and listening. And Candice bowing out.
Thank you, Candice. Dear Tide, dear Sangha, my name's Erica, and my Dharma name is True Flowery Mountain. I was friends with Wynn starting in 2004. And like Candice, I still feel a great amount of grief for Wynn's passing, grief for all that's happening on this planet as well. The horrific mass shootings, continued wars, heat waves, droughts. It seems endless at times. And I have felt in this past month a lot of, sometimes even despair. Powerful emotions. And I guess I realized also how those powerful emotions were connected to my love and care for the beings of the world. That my despair and pain for the world were embedded in what I see as an ocean of love within my consciousness. I have also spent a lot of time with Sangha, and I am extremely grateful to Sangha siblings. I see here members of World Into Being Sangha. Thank you so much. I also have taken refuge with my local Sangha, Mountain Stream Sangha. I want to express my gratitude to all of you, to this community, Earth Holder community, for listening deeply. Sangha has been a raft and a true refuge during these times. I have also experienced the earth as a refuge. I have been working on a Zurich pollinator garden in honor of Wynn. And there have been some beautiful surprises in that space. And really having my hands in the earth, connected to the earth. I saw the earth as all three jewels, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and felt the refuge of this web of life on our beautiful planet, which nourished me immensely. There were moments of extreme joy this past month as well, which also nourished me. During walking meditations, I saw a great horned owl in a tree twice. I saw it about a week apart. It was the same owl. I also saw a skunk, and with equanimity, I felt some joy seeing the skunk as well, though I stayed clear from it. And I have a 10-year-old child, and his smile when we're singing together, I Love Nature by Joe Riley, or This Pretty Planet. It is so wonderful to feel his joy. The glimmer in his eye and the smile on his face when he has a handful of seeds, wildflower seeds that he scatters into the earth. Touches my heart too. Like Wynn and Candice, I'm also a dancer. And I found a lot of joy in dancing and what we call in our little family jump around music. This past month also remembering the strength, dedication, and resourcefulness of my ancestors. There are two paintings from my grandmother behind me. One is of the fish in the water, and remembering how these ancestors continue in me. Her mother, my great-grandmother, was extremely dedicated to social justice efforts and once gave away her wedding ring to support social justice efforts she believed in. So feeling this strength and resolve of the ancestors in me. And my parents' love, my family's love. There are some family members here today who are also Sangha members. Feeling that love. Earth is refuge, Sangha is refuge. The loving kindness of the Sangha, drops of joy. All of this brought about a certain level of groundedness and clarity, and a realization that Wynn's death was like spring thunder for me. It woke me up. It watered many seeds of love and compassion, and as difficult as this grief has been, his death challenged me to grow. And out of all this, I have felt the emergence of a conscious action. And recently I wrote to my representative, Joe Neguse, and asked him to consider sponsoring a congressional resolution to make August Climate Action Month. Wynn's birthday was August 25th. And of course, 1 month is not enough, very clearly, but it could be a start. I'm actually not really attached to that form, but just really feeling dedicated to carrying out mindful actions in care of this beautiful earth. Thank you, dear Sangha, dear earth holders. I'm going to pass it to Brother Dharma Embrace.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for gathering the second time to remember, to honor, and to continue our dear brother Wynn's aspiration. And this is, there's nothing lost. We continue, we kind of can intuit his and many other people's, conviction to help humanity and help our living beings to kind of live more harmoniously and to protect this life, precious life, and this way of being for the future generation. And that's what it's in my heart, very alive after hearing about and coming across Wynn's inspiration. I think we will share a little bit of some of his words, and we all felt it, and it just recently, we found some of his words, and it just confirmed what we are all about as well, as a individual, as a collective, as a community of earth holders. And I'm calling from Deer Park Monastery, and there's a little background there of a meditation hall. And I'm actually really involved right now in preparing for the teenagers who will be coming in a few days. And I just want to share that because I think Sangha, we're so happy. We live off of watching children, teenagers, young people come in touch with the Dharma, and that they are us, they are our family, they are our future. And we have over 30 young people come to staff the teen camp. We will have over 100 teenagers come, and a lot of monks and nuns are going down to camp with them. The last 2 days been preparing the campground, preparing a little fireplace and setting up all their tents. We have like 20 tents up for the boys. We have to make it clean and cutting the weeds, making sure that that they won't be so irritated. Many of them will come and they're so domesticated that they're afraid of dirt and bushes, so itchy things. So we get to practice to be like their father, their uncles, to prepare the best for them so that they can be comfortable. And after 2 or 3 days, that they will actually love being under the stars and touching a bush and being touched by the dirt. And this is Mother Earth, is to teach our young ones to love Mother Earth and not to be afraid of nature. And recently we sat with the staff, and they shared, actually over half of them are returning teenagers, and they felt grateful to having grown up with Deer Park in their lives. And some of them had been many years that they come back, but it was beautiful. One young man shared that he's back to give to other teenagers what he received from the monks and nuns. Anyway, the monks and nuns who were present while they were sharing this, we were like thriving off of their sharing. It was like over 30 sharing, and I wish I recorded it so that everyone can hear the young generation. They are so woke. They are so like aware of what's happening with the earth, and to bring balance back to the social and racial kind of imbalance that we have. And yeah, the next generation, especially, I feel so lucky that I live in a place like this, and people come up here are like in line or like and willed, who are very will active and aspiring to affect the world in positive way. And so this is for me. I wanted to share this to the Earth Holder community to know that Thais and Wynn's continuation is happening, and we need to come in contact with this and not just yet it's a shame to be disconnected to this. So we need to find ourselves and bring ourselves to community physically, and to gather and to create opportunities for children, young people, teenagers. And this is what I love about Plum Village tradition. Like we have so much emphasis on children and babies, or even in the womb, come and listen to the Dharma talk, and play and have music. And so this is what's in my heart now, and I know you will be nourished to hear this. That's why I share this. We need this too. We need to hear good news. We need to hear liberating and empowering news, and it's about our children, and this is the best thing we can do as monks and nuns, is to open our monastery and allow people to come here to share in this nature, this surrounding, to hear the bird calls, the coyotes calling, and to honor the land ancestors here, which we will do. And the theme of the teen camp is called Enough, Enough, You Are Enough. So that's just not for the teens, it's for all of us. And that is for Mother Earth, and that is what we can do to know that we are so blessed to be alive and to have Mother Earth embrace us and nourish us every day with her food, her water, her air. And we vow to, continue to work to keep that available for, the future generation. So thank you for gathering, and I just wanted to share those good news for you.
Can everybody hear me okay? Yep, okay. I invite everybody to shift position to where you can be most comfortable and have a little bit of freedom to move. That may be standing up, or it may just be shifting to the front of your seat, the edge of your cushion, just where you have a little bit more space to move. Taking a deep breath and noticing the connection of your feet with the floor, and more importantly, the earth. As you settle in, notice in your body if there's a place where there's some tension or stress within your body. Just a little spot where a bit of tension, a bit of stress is making itself known this morning. And as you contact that, if you wish to place a hand there, you could, or if it feels enough to just have your attention resting there, that's fine too. And being curious, no judgment, nothing to do, just being with this place that's experiencing tension and stress. as you're ready, very gently releasing your hand, releasing your attention, coming back to awareness of feet connecting with the earth and breathing in and out. Now noticing in body a place where there may be a sense of ease, a sense of well-being. Seeing if there's a part of the body that wants to make itself known this morning from that place of ease and well-being. And again, you may wish to contact that part with your hand or rest your attention there. Just being curious. Sense of ease and well-being. Even if it's little, even if it's big, being with. And then as you're ready, releasing your hand, your attention from that specific place of ease and well-being. Noticing your connection with the earth, the hands that touch the earth, and breath. And our final piece will be an invitation to the body. Is there a way that that piece that's experiencing ease and well-being can offer a little bit of movement towards the place that's experiencing the tension and stress? So is there a little bit of movement that arises from the ease and well-being that can embrace the tension and stress? Just allowing that movement to come through. And if the movement has a beginning and an end, then allowing yourself to kind of go through it a few times. And in the honor of time, releasing that movement, thanking body for being willing to participate and play a little bit this morning. Candice bowing out.
I think you're leading us off on this panel, Erin.
Maíra.
Maíra, so sorry. I was told that before. I will get you up there very quickly, Maíra. Let's see, where are you? I cannot find you. Oh, I see you. Okay, there we go.
Jetai, dear Sangha, thank you, Naomi, thank you all. I'll just put myself in gallery view because it's weird to see my face all over it. Okay, now I can see you all. My name is Maíra. I speak from the unceded lands of Puri people in the mountains of the state of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And I'm really glad to be here with you all. My Dharma name is Engaged Serenity of the Heart. I don't know from where they took the serenity part, but anyway, I'm really glad for it. And I'll share a little bit about how to practice joy in this kind of chaotic moment. There's a song, it's a bossa nova song. I don't know if Frank Sinatra recorded it, so I don't know if you know it, but it says, it's better to have joy than to be sad, because joy is the best thing that exists. I'm trying to translate it. And it's just like light in the heart. And I try to live by this song. So when I started my journey in the Earth Holder community, I was in deep pain. I don't know if you are all aware of the environmental situation in my country, but it's pretty bad, just to resume it and to summarize it. But so I was deep suffering, and I cried almost every meeting. I guess Harry and Neil were in my first meetings, and they might remember I just cried. I shared and cried. But eventually my tears watered the seeds of joy that were already in me. And then Earthholder kind of saved me and my sanity. And that's the thing I want to talk about, because whenever I feel despair or grief or fear, I remember that joy is kind of a superpower and fuel for my personal and collective revolution. So joy is just a way of keep breathing. And when I first read I don't know how to translate it again, the Heart of Buddha's teachings, right? That's the name. Well, I first read in our first edition in Portuguese. It was translated, I don't know if it's going to mirror. I guess it's mirrored, so you won't be able to read it. But I don't speak Sanskrit, okay? So it's Rishta Dharma Sukha Vihara, I guess. Anyway, it was translated as, thank you, Brother Fabian. It was translated as, and I found it in another translation, and well, to Sanskrit to English, to dwell joyfully in things as they are. And I guess I really prefer this translation than the standard dwelling happily in the present moment, because it just makes me remember that the present moment is a wonderful moment, no matter how things are. And especially in those past years here, things are pretty bad. So if I learn to dwell joyfully in those things, I might do something to change them. And that's my experience. And I've learned that, I don't know, I've been through a lot of suffering and oh God, I speak a lot. Okay. And I know that joy can save me as well. I can save, well, the planet, as we can say, and other people. So when we started thinking about creating an Earthholder community here, we just thought we should focus on joy, because we are already exhausted and we are sad, and every day there's a new thing for us to be said, or a lot of things for us to be said. And there are right now in this very moment 2 people missed in the Amazon forest, probably already dead. So and our runners, let's say, said they were adventurous joining the Amazon forest, so they kind of deserve their killing. Anyway, then we thought we should be joyful for some moment. And we had last month, and we are having next week too, gathering physically, as Brother Fabian was sharing. And we decided to make it joyful. So it was really fun, and there are a few people here that were there. And we sang really badly, but we didn't care. And we made mindful movements, and we had a lot of laugh, and it just really invigorated us. And that's the thing I believe, just to end up and pass to Brother Aaron. I don't have a lot of hope. I don't think things will get better in a brief span of time. I think things will be worsening a lot. But I really have this experience, so I can say it's true, that if we practice joy and being in community and connect, we can go through it, touching the present moment and dwelling joyfully in things as they are. So regenerative cultures mean not only plant trees, which we must do, but also regenerate our relations and our perspective on how to live and how to be human beings. So I hope we can all dwell joyfully in our things. Thank you so much. Sorry for passing my time, Brother Aaron. Thank you. Bye now.
Dear Ty, dear beloved Sangha, it's really nice to look at some of your faces and the gallery. I actually want to invite us to do a practice also, if you're willing to switch to the gallery view for a moment and just find one screen, leave it on the screen, you will see some faces. And I'd like you to just take some breaths. Maybe you need to close your eyes first for a moment to find your body again. And on Mother Earth, as Brother Fabian was guiding us, and that presence that you have, aliveness inside the breath. And then as you open your eyes, to keep that presence. And then just taking in someone's face as you open your eyes, maybe just one of the Hollywood squares. And really look and see how you can feel yourself alive, and you can feel them. If you really look, you can see their aliveness and some of what they're feeling. Maybe it's joy, maybe there's some grief, maybe there's some tension or anxiety. But just to be present like that and see the sacredness of this being there and our presence together. So I just want to do that as feeling our collectiveness, and maybe if we think of the whole group, we're all now in each other's consciousness a little bit. It's like mirrors, lots of jewels that were together, and hope you can feel that across the Zoom landscape. I am in California, and I also want to say that it's my hope to get down to Deer Park Monastery at some point for that collective energy, and for our collective healing. That's what I want to talk about a little bit: collective healing and collective power, and the reverence for life that can hold that. So since Wynn's passing, I have spent a lot of time outside and thinking about reverence for life and presence and connection, and that's been very helpful. I've also been active again with some communities of, you could call it like joyful and compassionate and sometimes fierce resistance in New York City, where I live. And that's Extinction Rebellion is one of the communities, and there's a subgroup within that called the Mindful Rebels, which is like a meditation community that's within that. So I want to say, I mentioned like our presence here together and feeling each other. I think that is the foundation, like healing together and having power together to make change. One person comes to mind is Kate Marvel. She's a climate scientist, and she said, today our situation is not so much about hope, it's about courage. It's about the willingness to act even in the face of insurmountable odds or obstacles. And I think there's a great power in that. I think that's really, when I think of Thai during the Vietnam War, you know, it could be easy to feel despair or hopelessness, and that's an allowed feeling, but to continue to take action is very important. And I think where we are is clear, like a crisis moment. So our power together is very important. And I also have been thinking of Dr. King a lot, and the civil rights movement, and some of the images coming to me of people gathered in churches, the physical presence of being together and feeling together and motivating each other and being inspired to do things that seem impossible, that take great courage and sacrifice. So I'm hopeful. I hope we can create spaces like that, and maybe even a retreat like one of the practices we do in the Mindful Rebels is to do sitting meditations in places of where there's harm happening, either in a large bank or just in a public space, to call attention. And so I would like to plant the seed for a retreat like that, where we can have many thousands of people gathered and calling for justice and people's voices being heard again. So XR has a very clear ask, which is like about Sangha building in many ways. It's that we give power back to the people, restore our democracy through something called citizens' assemblies, which can be used within our existing government framework. But it's a very specific call to allow people's voices to re-enter into our decision-making process. And that's very important for us to be able to address these crises that we're facing, crises of injustice. Also, I'm a little over the time, just to finish with something from Thai. His book, Love in Action, is about nonviolence as an action, as a way of political action that was used during the Vietnam War in his experience. And there's a quote that I'd like to offer you, which is just begins with the essence of nonviolence is love. And we give you the whole quote shared out, but it's really this coming back to that as our strength and power to organize. It's very important to me. So if you're interested in any things and how we can organize, because that also is an act of love, you can find me or find out more about Mindful Rebels. And I think Sister Tu will add more to this as well. So really grateful for your listening, presence, and stop there and pass it to Sister Tu.
Dear Sangha, this is Sister Tu. Thank you, Erin, for your sharing. Since Wynn's passing, it's also been a time for deep reflection for me. And I've been touching a lot of gratitude for the current conditions that I'm personally in, as well as collectively we're in, because Wynn's passing has really shone a bright light on that. What is here and what is not here? And with what is here, what options do we have? So I've found my journey through earth holding as a community to be shifting in my relationship with earth holding. Earth holding Sangha has been a space of refuge. And now in this time, it's been a space for agency and empowerment. I see people leaning in. Can you hear me all right? You can't hear me. How's that? Is that better? Okay. Yeah, my relationship with earth holding and earth holding Sangha has been an experience of agency and empowerment to really be in right relationship with the deeper reality that we're all in. So often, outside of spaces of intentional community, I find the obstacle of looking more squarely at our reality, of both the joy and the suffering of our communities, of our society, of the world. And it's been very disempowering to be in that space, to know that there's suffering there and that there is a part for us to play, but not see that mirrored back, that understanding or that empathy mirrored back. So in a way, it's as if we are collectively being gaslit by our very own, our society, our communities, not perhaps intentionally, but just out of lack of awareness. So coming into community where there is a conscientious effort to live and breathe the Four Noble Truths, to look more squarely at the causes of suffering and the way out of suffering has been so empowering, has given me a sense of clarity, as we've mentioned before in our other panelists sharing. And to no longer be gaslit, first of all, by the outside environment, and then also by my own internal environment, to have the space to practice together, to have more clarity and calm, to touch those areas that are raw and sensitive in me, and to look at it more squarely and not deny, not to run away. So I resonate with this emphasis on clarity and courage and compassion, rather than hope. Because I think on my path of nourishing clarity, courage, and compassion, with that will come hope. So just a few things that I'd like to share about this path of practice that we're all on and that Wynn has really shed light on. When we talk about reverence for life, whether it's Wynn's life or the many lives that have been lost due to injustices in our society today, how are we making those lives really matter in our actions, in our practice? That's the koan that's been set forth by Wynn's actions. Our teacher, in finding a way forward and finding a way out, really showed us a model of community building as a foundation for us to gain agency, to protect ourselves from the gaslighting, to have the courage and train ourselves in resilience, to together step forward into those uncomfortable spaces, those spaces where alone we may feel there is no way out or no hope, alone and despairing even. So community building, Sangha, our experience as practitioners keeps pointing us back to this very fundamental truth that we are social beings, that we need a home, we need a refuge, and we need a collective relationship, both with our aspirations as well as our actions. So the invitation here is to see ourselves embedded in ever largening circles of Sangha, to make those connections, to nourish ourselves, to heal our grief, and to gain agency over what's coming in, gain agency over what we are able to offer out. So in this past month, I've really been putting my energy into the foundations of Sangha building. In our Earth Holding community, we have an initiative called Beloved Community Circles, which is an expressly a conscientious commitment to ourselves as Sangha members, to our practice, and to mindful action, so that we do live the aspiration as well as the insight of interbeing in a concrete way, so that we don't fall into numbness or fall into comfort just taking care of our smaller tribe, but we really live the insight of interbeing, that suffering over there is also part of our suffering, and we are moved to act on behalf of our larger self. This intersectionality of suffering, intersectionality of grief, as well as joy. So beloved community circles is a way that we can take concrete steps to nurture, to take care of one another, to take care of our practice, and to act no longer as individuals, but as small communities together, like an interest net, to act together on behalf of life, to really honor life. All of us come from spaces that honor different forms of life. And as Erin had shared in one of our sharings, I'd like to uplift that. How we honor life, there are many different ways. Self-care, through our sharing, through our expressing support, and through our mindful actions. And I'm so grateful to be a part of a community that continues to look in the direction of unifying our body and mind, unifying what's in our hearts with how it manifests in our hands of holding, of care. So moving forward, we'd like to offer this very firm foundation as a way forward for our community of Sangha building, community building, and connecting that with our hands. There's nothing as disempowering as being removed from the Four Noble Truths, because once we are blocked, then we're frozen. We feel we cannot do anything. But with Earth Holders, I have found a space where I can continue to affirm the deeper truths that I touch when I really am still, and I can feel, I can sense the imbalances that we have in our larger circles. That is affirmed, and I'm no longer blocked to turn away from it or to freeze from despair. But together, we're looking together to do each and every one of us our part. But thank you for sharing this deeper aspiration together as a community and as smaller communities together. With that, I'll end and invite us now to move into triads again. We will be asking everyone to reflect on, I'll put the prompt up here, to reflect on our relationship, not just with the joys and sufferings in our personal life, but in a more and more collective space. How have we touched community in our daily life, whether it's even family member to family member, smaller circles of neighborhood community, or on larger areas. We've had a number of sharings from our panelists talking about how they've been practicing to deal with grief on a personal level, how they've been taking committed actions to connect with larger circles, to channel their suffering, to touch joy, how to bring the energy and practice of joy into spaces to regenerate ourselves and to regenerate the environment, and how to touch, train, to have clarity and courage to move into those uncomfortable spaces where resilience is needed, transformation is needed. So we now would like to invite you to reflect on those points and share with one another, again in the same format. Thank you.
Family, let us take this moment to share our joy, our happiness to those who might not have the condition, the safety, the environment to touch what we have touched, the Dharma, the Sangha, and our happiness of being together. In the Mahaya tradition, I think we all know the Bodhisattva vow is to not leave one person behind. And to balance that is an awareness that we will not underestimate, even one person, a child, a teenager that can enjoy the night stars laying on the ground. Just that one person, that teenager, is enough to give us hope for humanity and the planet. One human being, if they are inspired to reconcile with their father, their mother, is not lost. One person who speaks up for another, unrepresented, unheard, discriminated, is not lost. That's part of the universal energy. As long as there's one person on this planet who does not succumb to the way the society has framed the world, that they are living beyond that, aware that our place on earth is to serve and to help and to help our planet for the future generation. Just one person. And I know on this planet there's one person. And not only that, we're very lucky. We are a part of a community with many. So I think to balance off that awareness that we don't leave others behind, that could sometimes be a burden. But I think to balance that off, to know that no energy is lost. So the way we live, in the service of others, of the animals, the plants, the garden, the little ants, the mosquitoes, that good wholehearted intention is not lost. And so we send that energy to those who are less fortunate to have not come across the practice, and of friends who support us. So let's close our eyes and let's just hone all this energy that we've touched in the last hour or so, and know that within us, within every cell of our body, it knows what to do. And within this human family, as a living species on this planet, each one of us a cell, we also are convicted that each one of us knows what to do. And nothing is lost. And there's a little bodhisattva everywhere, every moment, awakening, reconciling, protecting, nourishing, healing, smiling, laughing, open to surprises, to the wonder of being alive. There's at least one person on this planet right now, breathing, aware, this miraculous journey that we're all on. Thank you, everyone, for breathing together. And may we all continue beautifully on our path. Thank you, Earth Holder Sangha, for gathering us, nourishing us. Take care of yourself.